At this hour, I'm Christina, Aguayo in Dallas, and here are your top stories. 16 illegal migrants have been arrested in Dallas County, Texas, in back-to-back bookings for robbery and aggravated kidnapping to Terrorize. Bernardo Ascension, George Lopez Cacique, Juan Lopez Martinez, Christian Ascension Lopez, and Juan Ascension Margarito Hernandez. Recently, members of the violent Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua have been detected in northern Dallas with one incident involving a woman getting pistol whipped and robbed in her own home. It's not clear whether or not these migrants are part of that gang. An illegal migrant from Honduras has been accused of kidnapping a 22-year-old woman at gunpoint in Haltom, Texas, on Christmas Eve. According to police, Eduardo Javier Ordonez Godoy forced the woman into her vehicle, threatened her, and tried to make her withdraw money from a bank. The woman was able to escape in Grapevine, Texas, which is where she was able to contact police. Oklahoma City police arrested Godoy inside the woman's vehicle and in possession of a firearm. He is being charged with aggravated kidnapping and aggravated robbery in Texas. Oklahoma is charging him with multiple other felonies. Chuck DeVore is sending out a warning after a new Department of Defense report detailed China's operations, including beefing up their weapons and psychological warfare. In a report, the Chief National Initiatives Officer at the Texas Public Policy Foundation said that China is engaging in the largest military buildup seen since the 1930s in Nazi Germany. DeVore talked about the Pentagon's annual report to Congress, which showed that the United States spent $5.4 trillion on its war on terror and nation building, which he says is futile and ignores the fact that the Chinese threat has grown. He's advising Congress to get on board with the incoming Trump administration and reallocate resources within the Pentagon to prioritize the strengthening of the Navy, nuclear deterrence, missile defense, and logistics. A judge has ruled that the Georgia State Senate can subpoena Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis. It's part of an inquiry into whether Willis engaged in misconduct during her prosecution of President Donald Trump. However, Fulton County Superior Court Judge Shakura Ingram is giving Willis the chance to contest whether Lawmakers' demands are overly broad before Willis responds. A Republican-led committee was formed earlier this year and sent subpoenas to Willis in August, seeking to compel her to testify during its September meeting and to produce scores of documents related to her prosecution against Trump. Willis argued that the committee did not have the power to subpoena her. Americans are more hopeful about the new year than they were heading into 2024, according to a recent survey. Perhaps unsurprisingly, the responses in the study were largely influenced by politics, with President Donald Trump soon set to move back into the White House. Mitch McCann reports.
The study, conducted by CBS News and YouGov, found that 57% of people felt hopeful looking ahead to 2025, compared with 47% the previous year. Among those who said they were hopeful about 2025, 60% cited Donald Trump's return to the presidency in January as a key reason. Others pointed to factors like relationships, the economy, and personal finances. Meanwhile, 23% of people said they felt discouraged about 2025, with 85% of them citing Donald Trump's incoming administration as a primary factor. They also mentioned politics in general, the state of the world, and the US economy as other reasons for feeling discouraged. The survey also looked at New Year's resolutions, with the most common answers being to improve health and to exercise. In New York, Mitch McCann, Salem News Channel.
President Joe Biden has announced that he is giving another almost $2.5 billion in defense assistance, funded by American taxpayers, to Ukraine. The total obligated to the country topped $183 billion as of September. Biden saying that the United States will continue to give money to President Vladimir Zelensky while he's still in office, and that he has directed his administration to continue surging as much assistance to Ukraine as quickly as possible. The funding includes $1.25 billion for Ukraine's military and $1.22 billion as part of Ukraine's Security Assistance Initiative. Russian President Vladimir Putin has said he's ready to sit down and negotiate peace through compromise, but the talks must involve legitimate Ukrainian authorities. With only 20 days left of his term, Joe Biden is on course to leave the White House with minimal fanfare, having withdrawn from the election campaign months ago and having conceded the Oval Office to President Donald Trump. The outgoing president's public presence is hardly registering in the face of the president-elect's cascade of actions on both domestic and foreign policy. Benji Heyer reports from Washington.
Joe Biden's term is winding down. In the dying days of his presidency, he's heading to the Vatican to seek solace with the Pope and says he's still working on reaching a ceasefire deal in Gaza whilst upping assistance to Ukraine. But beyond a plethora of pardons, his final few weeks are quiet compared to his successors. Donald Trump is overshadowing proceedings, stealing much of the media limelight with his often controversial cabinet appointments and unconventional political interventions, as he waits to retake the highest office in the land. The inauguration falls on January 20th. Unlike 4 years ago, this time the country will experience a peaceful transfer of power, but is also bracing for an unpredictable 4 years ahead.
That's what you need to know at this hour. In Dallas, Christina, Aguayo, Salem News Channel.